Let's join Arise correspondent Adefemi Akinsanya as she joins us now to give us updates on the situation in Ikoyi. Adefemi, I want to say thank you very much for the good work you're doing. Please, can you bring us up to speed? We certainly know that you have people beside you. Talk to us. Who are they and what's the latest in Ikoyi?
Thank you very much. So I'm joined here by architect David Majeko-Dumi, who is part of the Nigerian Institute of Architects. Of course, in the coming together of what's happened yesterday, there have been many questions about the structure itself and why it was that it came down. Of course, it is still very early to say, but because we've got the opportunity to speak to architects, I would like to welcome you onto the show. This is Arise News. We are live on television. Please talk to us first and foremost about what you're doing here today and how you're involved with the down building.
Thank you very much, Arise. It's so sad. I mean, for those who have lost their lives in this tragedy, it's rather unfortunate because it's not the rich one that you see losing his life, but the man that came here yesterday that is looking for his daily bread for 2,000 or 3,000 naira per day. As at this time yesterday, it hasn't happened. He occurred around 3 o'clock. Due to the negligence of who? You can't determine that now until when the investigation is done. But one thing is, let's address ourselves. It's not good to be penny wise and pound foolish. This result as penny wise and pound foolish to the developer because you look at the signboard there, which is a prerequisite to every construction site, where the name of the architect, the name of the consultant should be well spelled on that signage. But what do we see? Telephone numbers. What's been going on social media? This number belongs to the developer. Now, when I say penny wise, pound foolish, a lot of our developers likes to develop, but they don't want to pay the consultant. Not only that, the government has to do something now to checkmate the developers. That's number one. Until when the investigation is done here, then you'll be able to determine what's the cost. Because when you look at the way the structure has pulled down, it looks like implosion, not explosion. And if maybe there's a structural failure on one side, the thing will have collapsed to one side. But everything comes down as if you're putting a bomb just to make the building. So there's a lot to be said. Now also, we need to address ourselves. What is the regulatory body doing? Falana said about 6 or 7 weeks ago that enough of the professionals in the construction industry talking about building collapse. What is our regulatory body doing? We are fighting amongst ourselves, want positions. I want to be the president of this. I want to be the chairman of this. Enough is enough. We are putting the lives of people in danger. Regulatory body, Koren, Akon, wake up and do the needful. We in the Lagos State chapter, the Nigeria, we've been doing so much, creating awareness. Now, talking about creating awareness, none of the people, even the professional bodies, doesn't understand what the National Building Code is. The National Building Code has been drafted by the professionals in the construction industry since 1986. It was not signed until 2006, 20 years after, by Mimiko, who was then minister. We are in 2021, my dear. The National Building Code has not been passed by the National Assembly. What does the National Building Code say? The minimum requirement for materials and the labor to be used. Now, we are talking of the Nigerian Institute of Architects has been working so hard domesticating this National Building Code. Now, how do we domesticate it when it's not been passed at the National Assembly? These are the results. Because with those national building codes, it tells you precisely what the materials, what strength, everything to be used. The minimal requirement. But it's so sad, every one of us is putting, because it's not, you won't find my son as a laborer, but look at the lives of the people.
Many other people's sons were laborers on that ground.
Exactly.
In your professional opinion, is it that you believe or you tend to believe that what we're seeing there is an example of cutting costs at the expense of lives?
Oh, yes. Definitely. With me here, I have a chairman, my practice committee, Architect Obey, Yamabo, I have Architect Abimbola Ajayi, I have Architect Tofarati, who is also an executive of the management in Akon, that's the Architect Registration Council of Nigeria. It's so sad. Why do we have to come here and afterwards? It's something we can avoid.
Thank you very much for joining us here.
What do you have for the Nigerian government?
So sorry, please. Well, there you've had it. You have heard from David Majekodunmi, who is a representative from the Nigerian Institute of Architects. Very, very strong words there. He says that people cannot be penny wise and pound smart.
Yeah.
Of course, alluding to the fact that there could be instances of people using,
All right,
sharp
we want to say
practices or
many
trying to
thanks
cut
to
financial
you.
corners at the expense of lives.
It's unfortunate we've run out of time, and we'll catch up with you in the subsequent hour.